Two shots. Governor Connolly did not believe that he was struck by the same bullet that first hit the president. He told the commission that he had heard a bang, which he believed to be a sound of a rifle being fired, and had then had time to turn first to his right and then begin to look to his left before slumping forwards with his chest wound. The film taken by Abraham Zapruder, together with snapshots taken by other spectators, tend to support Connolly's recollection that the interval between his hearing the first shot and being struck himself was approximately 1 second. During 1972, Dr. Cyril Wheat, W.E.C.H.T., President of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences, was permitted to examine the autopsy evidence. He was able to show, to his own and others' satisfaction, that Connolly and Kennedy must have been hit by different bullets. If that is so, then either one of the three bullets fired from behind did not miss. As the Commission believed, or there were indeed 4 bullets, the House Assassinations Committee eventually concluded that 4 shots had almost certainly been fired, that one had come from Grassy Knoll, and that Kennedy was probably killed as a result of conspiracy between at least 2 gunmen. More than 20 years after the assassination, only one thing is absolutely certain about the event. He died from brain damage caused by the bullet. Everything else, even the identity of the assassin, remains in doubt. The motive of the assassin, who called himself Lee Harvey Oswald, but used other aliases, has never been established because he could become properly interrogated. He was himself murdered in circumstances that look like a deliberate silencing operation. The assassin's killer, underworld gangster Jack Ruby, lived for 4 years after he shot Oswald, but he too was never deeply interrogated. Was the assassin a lone misfit who killed to draw attention to himself, to revenge himself on society, or for some other totally private purpose? Or was he acting on behalf of some conspiracy? And if so, what was the organization that had set up the murder and trained him for it? Was Ruby another private motive killer, avenging the death of his president, or was he too part of the conspiracy that required the death of the assassin? Were vital facts about the assassination covered up by Washington officials for political or private purposes? Finally, was the assassin really an American called Lee Harvey Oswald, or was he an imposter, a professional killer, possibly of foreign origin? Lee Harvey Oswald was born in New Orleans on 18 October 1939, 2 months after his father had died. His hard-pressed mother placed her 2 other sons in a home where Lee joined them when he was 3. 2 years later, his mother married again, and Lee rejoined her in the suburb of Fort Worth, near Dallas, Texas. But that comfortable existence ended when the new marriage collapsed in divorce. Lee and his mother moved to New York, where the boy played truant from school. Though tests showed him to be intelligent, while still in his early teens, he became interested in Marxism and the Communist Party. Shortly after his 17th birthday, he joined the Marines, stating that he wished to become trained as a radar operator. In the early autumn of 1957, he was posted to a United States Air Base in Japan. There, Oswald's work involved the flights of U-2 spy aircraft, which, flying above anti-aircraft missile range, took photographs over Soviet territory. When he learned that he was being transferred to the Philippines, Oswald, who had acquired an automatic .22 caliber pistol against all Marine rules, grazed his left arm with a bullet. It was assumed by the authority that he had wounded himself deliberately to avoid being moved, so he had his left arm was weak. He was punished by being deprived of promotion to the rank of corporal, which may well have embittered him against authority. After further disciplinary problems, Oswald decided to defect to the Soviet Union, but he said nothing to his colleagues about his decision until he returned to the United States with his unit during November '58. In preparation for his flight to the Soviet Union, he took a Marine Corps course and examination in Russian, in which he performed only modestly. He made no effort to hide his growing sympathy with Soviet communism. During September 1959, he secured a discharge on the grounds that his mother needed his support, then applied for a passport, telling friends that he was going to Finland to attend university there. As soon as he arrived in Helsinki, he applied for a tourist visa to the Soviet Union and arrived there on 15 October. What really happened to Oswald in the Soviet Union remains something of a mystery, because there is much more than his word for any of it. After consulting officials, he visited the United States Embassy in Moscow and announced that he had come to hand in his passport and renounce his American citizenship. Oswald stayed in the Soviet Union for 2.5 years. It is known that he spent most of his time in Minsk, and that he married a Russian girl, Marina Pozavkova, on 30 April 1961, for reasons that will be considered later. He decided to return with his wife to the United States. His passport was returned to him, and the couple with their baby daughter arrived on America 13 June 1962. They went to live at Fort Worth after failing to find work as a Russian translator. Oswald went through a succession of jobs, the last one in Texas School Book Depository on Dallas, where he started work on 16 October 1963. By this time the couple had had a second child, but Oswald was living separately from Marina in lodgings on Dallas. Marina was staying with the children at friends' house in the nearby town of Irving, so they didn't obviously communicate about what he was doing. The day after shooting of Kennedy, Oswald was visited by his wife, his mother, and his brother Robert, who all identified him. Then soon after 11 a.m. Sunday 24 November, Oswald was taken from his cell in police headquarters to be transferred to the county jail. He was led out, handcuffed, under the escort of several detectives with television cameras trained on him and reporters firing questions. A short, powerfully built man stepped out and fired a .38 bullet into Oswald's belly. Oswald died in hospital without regaining consciousness. His assailant was former mobster Jack Ruby. Also, my website, I have concluded that further thought about the pressure on the brain of the blood and the tie and the indulging in the food. I believe, at the moment I'm still reading through the evidence, I believe it to be a conspiracy regarding their Marilyn Monroe's relationship can be traced before Kennedy's big 45th birthday celebrations held at New York's Madison Square on 19th May. So I would seriously consider calling it a conspiracy and relating it to Marilyn Monroe's death and Marilyn Monroe's films and these assassins as being the misfits, and something's got to give. Something's got to give, Mr. President. And here, happy birthday, Mr. President. Thanks for the memory, Mr. President. And the misfits, they're doing the job, but one of them is an idiot, so they shot in the belly. I would seriously consider calling it a conspiracy, but it's what I think. I don't know what the majority of the detectives and the police think. More on the late president's untimely death in a while. Tomorrow, perhaps. Untimely match. Thank you very much for listening.